Today's Beyond Pink woman is Anita Bhogle, advertising executive and founder partner of Prosearch, a motivational and corporate communications organization. Writer, communications expert, motivational speaker, wife, mother, Anita wears many hats. Which is the hat that she likes the most? Which new hat would she like to buy? Which is the hat that she would like to now junk? These are some of the questions that we'll talk about today, and only Anita has the answers. So welcome, Anita. So tell me about your organization, Prosearch. Let's begin over there. How did it start? What was the transition? What were you doing before that?
Yeah. When Harsha and I realized that we could actually do something together, and it was something that a friend suggested, it suited me perfectly. What suited me was the flexibility and the ability to work from home and still have something going. But it wasn't a genre at all. What we do is learnings from sport for corporate people. It wasn't a genre that existed at all. It wasn't an area of competence for me. I was at best a peripheral sports viewer. But still, at the time, we had ideas thinking we'd do consultancy in sport and we'd do this, the winning way, as one of the offerings. But it just took off.
How was the experience of writing a book?
Very satisfying, finally, but quite tough while we were writing it, because I think it was quite a challenge to write along with somebody else who you know very well, but who has a very different style, who has a very different way of working, and who has a very unpredictable schedule. So keeping up with all that was quite a challenge. But finally it worked out well, I think.
It did work out well. Your book is an amazing book. So you have a corporate consultancy, you have a book to your name. What next?
Well, I already started something called Biz Pundits.
So a new venture. New venture.
At 50, I have a startup. I've been in the learning content space for about 13 years now, and it was time to diversify, to go further, and so I decided to start Biz Pundits. It is a digital learning library, again for managers. So it's really for the same space that we addressed in the winning way, but it's a digital format.
Why this need to start something new? You already have enough on your plate.
Like I said, the winning way has been around for 13 years. We did a book, and I felt the need to grow it. And so after spending so many years, I thought I must grow, and the product has to grow, and I have to grow. And so I started looking for a diversification.
Prosearch, I presume, is a profitable venture.
Very, very much so.
So do you, as partners, divide the gains, or you don't do that?
Of course, I'm the senior partner and he's the junior partner.
Oh, excellent. Harsha, I hope he's watching.
Oh, he loves to say that. He says, I'm the only one in the room who's not a boss, and we work in a team of two, and I'm not the leader. That's his favorite statement.
Good. You are partners in two ways. One is professionally, and one is personally. So now this intersection happens, where there is a financial reckoning to be made, and you have to do, at the end of the day, you have to open your khata and do the sums, and you go to the bank and you deposit your check. How important is that aspect of your life to you?
Luckily we are very similar in the sense that money has never been important for us. We are simple people with few needs, and life has been kind to us. So we've always had more than we needed. So money has never been the driver for anything at all. And because I run the business, and the way Harsha is, he said, all your money is yours, and all my money is also yours, and all the headache is also mine of managing it. So that's never been an issue.
it is not greed but ambition that drives, and there's a difference. So, so we are not talking about greed, but we are talking about money ambition.
Most certainly, I think it signifies a job well done.
Right. Sure.
And it gives you self-worth.
Right.
To that extent, money is important.
Anything you wish now that you had done as a young woman or as a child and didn't have the bandwidth to do it at that point?
I think some creative pursuit.
Okay. You're learning music now.
At 47, I started learning to play the keyboard.
Awesome. Yes.
And so that was something that was kind of unfinished, and
that was in your mind.
That was in my mind.
You want to
most certainly, but there was no time in between with the children growing up and business and all that. So yeah, that is something for myself, which I do only for myself.
And I've noticed, this is something that I've noticed very sharply, is that most of the time Harsha is there with you when you go for these performances, informal performances, and he's also very...
I love to say he's my caddy.
Yeah, he carries your keyboard and he places it and helps you out, and he's there to cheer for you, which is always nice. So what else would you like to share with our viewers?
When you are a woman who's working and a mother, you have several roles to play.
Yes.
Several hats to wear.
Oh yes.
And you try and do a good job of everything. And that's not always possible. Another thing I found was that men, focus on themselves a lot more than women do. Women somehow are conditioned, at least in our generation, the younger lot probably is a little different, but we are conditioned to think about everybody else first and then think about ourselves. So even when we think about our careers, it's about, you handle the home and you handle your children and you handle everything, and if you can manage, then you have a career. A lot of us are told that. So the first thing you want to let go of or compromise on is your career. Whereas men are very focused, it defines their identity. So if you ask a man, who are you? He would probably say, I'm a banker or I'm a doctor or something. And women don't say that so easily.
No.
So because they are mothers and they are wives and
they're aware of that.
And their working life and their profession is just one part of their identity. But to be successful, you also need to focus on yourself. I'm not saying that everybody in this world must be focused on themselves, because then it'll be a horrible world. But certainly in some phases of life where your profession and your career is at a critical stage, you need that focus. And then you also need support from other people. Real support, not just advice, but real support.
So what would you advise young women who are starting out? We hear a lot about this whole issue of work-life balance.
See, when you are young, I took decisions differently. I did what was best for the family unit, not necessarily for me. So to that extent, it was a suboptimal decision for me. But I think from the point of view of the family, I was there for my husband when his career was taking off. I was there for my children when they were young and needed me. I wouldn't say I would take the decision the same way now that the children have grown up and everybody is in a more stable kind of a situation. But yes, I took the decision that was best for the family unit. But I didn't feel guilty, or I didn't feel like I was sacrificing something or compromising on something. And I've always believed that, situations are not in your control, so you really don't have a choice. But what you do, how you address the situation, and the kind of decisions that you take, those are definitely in your own hands. And I have taken the decisions myself, so there's no need to feel guilty or bitter or anything like that. So I find a lot of friends who were very aggressive in their careers, very focused on their careers, single-mindedly, but around 50 they seem to be restless, they seem to be a little burnt out. Whereas I feel that I have no guilt, because I have done...
This is a new life that you...
yeah, and I'm still young enough to do something. I have the energy, the enthusiasm. I don't feel burnt out at all. So
you have the zest to now grow.
Absolutely. Now this time around, I didn't have a known name with me, because Harsha is not part of the setup. I have very young techno-entrepreneurial partners But this time what I had was a business of the future. I had something that was exciting. I had something that was my very own and that I could grow the way I wanted. There was no ceiling to the opportunity. It was limitless opportunity.
And you are in a very young space.
I am in a young space with young people who are teaching me something every day.
Yeah. So you are perpetually relearning, you're learning more skills all the time.
Absolutely.
And that's one way of keeping very relevant.
And their energy and enthusiasm is always pushing you forward.
Pushing you forward, absolutely. What do you cherish the most? What would you die protecting?
I think the happiness of my family.
Okay.
That is certainly what I would cherish, and I've always, like I said, been there. We are simple people with few needs, and life has been kind to us, and I felt the need to grow it. And the way Harsha is, he said, all your money is yours and all my money is also yours. At 47 I started learning to play the keyboard.
Awesome, yes.
And so that was something that was kind of, we are conditioned to think about everybody else first and then think about ourselves. And then you also need support from other people. Real support, not just advice, but real support. You know, to be successful, you also need to focus on yourself.